Hi, everyone, and welcome to another day of virtual learning. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about healthy and unhealthy relationships, dating violence, and things like that. I'm going to kind of break this lesson up into 3 different days. So let's go ahead and kind of go over what I want you to know today. For today's assignment, what you're going to do is you are going to draw, okay, what your ideal type is, okay? So you're going to grab a sheet of paper and you're going to grab some colored pencils or markers to spice things up, and you are going to draw your ideal partner, okay? In that drawing, you need to list 10 things you want in that partner. So that's maybe some character traits they might have, some looks that you would prefer, things like that. I would appreciate it if for this project you do not suggest the size of female or male body parts. So for example, don't say you want them to have a big butt, okay? Obviously that might be something you want, but we're not going to do it for this assignment. You can see my example to the right. I drew a picture. Notice how I actually put some effort into it. It isn't just a random, no effort stick figure, okay? And I wrote my ideal man. I put a nice smile pointing to the teeth. I put no facial hair pointing to like his face. Family guy, patient and understanding, honest, willing to do fun things like go cliff diving, bowl, mini golf. I wrote no tobacco use. I wrote has to like my dog, no questions asked. Number 9 is motivated, so wants to get a job, keep a job, things like that. And then number 10 is respects me and my opinions. So I have a character. This is kind of what I would want my person to look like. And these are the things about this character that I'm looking for. Okay. Even if you're not looking for a relationship, you know, like in a partner, like what you would want for that person to have. Even if you aren't looking, okay, what would you want in that partner? I will be collecting these for a grade. Obviously, in class, we would have had 20 minutes, but for today's activity, you'll be doing it on your own time at home. So go ahead and do that before you continue this lesson, okay? So you can pause it, get out your paper, draw your thing, take a picture of it, submit it on Canvas, and then I'm going to go through a little bit of this PowerPoint. Okay. So I want you to think of some of those positive qualities that you were writing down that you're looking for in a relationship. Obviously on mine, I had I want them to be honest. I want them to respect me. I want them to be motivated, things like that. So think about those positive qualities that we typically look for in a relationship. Obviously, some of us like people to look a certain way. However, that's more of like a character-based is what I'm looking for here. Unfortunately, there are a handful of negative qualities that we don't want in a relationship, okay? Any quality in a relationship that is negative, it can be categorized as an abusive relationship. So let's go ahead and talk about some negative qualities that we might see that we are not looking for, hopefully, when we're looking for a partner. The first one is controlling, okay? We don't want someone to be controlling. We don't want them to be making decisions for the other partner, like deciding what they can and cannot wear, who they can and can't talk to, where and what they spend their money on. Obviously, this controlling factor is going to be a warning sign that there could be problems in the future in this relationship. The next negative quality is that lack of trust. Remember, making accusations. Maybe they're excessively monitoring your phone or your social media to see who you're texting and talking to. Maybe they have issues if you go out without them. Maybe they have excessive communication or questioning, so you can't go out with your friends without them asking you 1,000 questions. The next one is jealousy, okay? There is a difference between being jealous in a relationship and unhealthy jealous behavior. Obviously, sometimes it's uncomfortable for us to see people being smiley and friendly, with people of the opposite sex. However, when it escalates beyond control, they're hunting for evidence to prove that you're doing things. And a lot of times this will lead to other things like accusations, blaming, name calling, threats, things like that. Other examples of unhealthy behavior in a relationship is physical abuse. Obviously, any unwanted or intentional contact with you or something close to your body. So if they're scratching, punching, biting, punching, pushing, pulling your hair, things like that, that's a warning sign. If they're grabbing your face to make you look at them, or maybe they're using weapons like a gun, a knife, mace, bat, or any other weapon to kind of exert power over you. And then also something that can happen that's a negative trait is belittling or guilt trips. So maybe they're making you feel bad about yourself, calling you names, making rude remarks about who you are or who you hang out with. Maybe they're making fun of you and saying it's a joke, but they're making a joke about the same thing repeatedly. And then a lot of times they'll be making it seem like everything's your fault. A lot of times in relationships, we'll see people like threatening to hurt themselves or others if you break up with them. So they're kind of like guilt tripping you into staying with them. These are all some examples of unhealthy behaviors. Okay. There's a cycle of abuse. I'll touch on it real quick. We will be talking about it in class when we do our in-class activity. The first one is tension building. So a conflict occurs that's not necessarily resolved. There's a breakdown of communication, and the victim's going to try to control the situation by pleasing the abuser. So that's the first stage. Then we have the explosion. This is where the abuse occurs. There's anger, arguing, blaming, threats, intimidation. The actual abuse is happening. And then the last one is the honeymoon phase, where the abuser apologizes. He says he'll never do it again. They pretend that everything's okay, and it goes back to normal, okay? It's important to know that this all happens in a cycle. So you can see the honeymoon here, apologies, promises, blaming, they're giving you gifts, everything's going to be okay. But then it goes right back into that cycle, that tension's building, and then the explosion happens, the abuse occurs, and we're back right into that, oh, I'm sorry, it'll never happen again, okay? This is just some basic understanding about like qualities in a relationship that we're looking for. You're drawing your ideal type. And then we have those qualities that are obviously red flags, warning signs, extremely abusive at some moments. And then we touched a little bit on the cycle of abuse. That's all we're going to kind of touch on today. So go ahead and make sure that you're submitting a picture of your ideal type for today's assignment. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to contact me.